All right, so we should be streaming. There should be 30 frames a second going to YouTube. Switch. Yeah. Okay, cool. I do have the boomer profile set up. I was just kind of making sure like everything was good as far as I don't have to show private stuff. I think I still need to set up mail cow for the SMTP part of this. But tonight's topic, we're going to test my own documentation and go through my logs. So recently, I was just playing around with this whole thing and decided to make it a product called Shift RMM, since most remote monitoring management tools are proprietary black boxes that are popping root shells and running scripts as system or root. Um, yeah, yeah, not a fan of that being proprietary, so decided to scratch my own itch and glue together some really awesome tools like Telegraph, Influx Db, and Mesh Central. So Telegraph yeets metrics on off to your InfluxDB server, which is a time series database, which also comes with a really helpful GUI to do permissions control, give you really good alerts and really pretty dashboards. And then Mesh Central is a way for pushing scripts and controlling boxes on an ad hoc or a schedule basis. So you can like use the scripting plugin to schedule a script to run at midnight to make sure all the chocolatey packages are up to date. Or you can push out Telegraph through Mesh Central, so you only install one agent, and then the back end of Mesh Central kind of distributes Telegraph out for you. So the way I set this up is first we're going to need a DigitalOcean droplet, which I did behind the scenes so you guys don't kind of look at my stuff. I do have an affiliate for DigitalOcean. I'll put in the description post so that way you guys can help support the project by paying my hosting bill. So first thing we're going to do is SSH root at rmm.shiftsystems.net. First things first, don't use root. Root's bad. Even though I'm using a key and I can only get to this IP address. Don't do it. So, user add Matthias. Damn it. User del Matthias. Add user Matthias. There we go. I'll get those two mixed up. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to make some username. Try again. We're going to make me one of those username things with a password. We're going to leave all of this blank. Yes. And then user mod ag sudo Matthias. So that way I can be sudo. Now, next thing I'm going to do, this is just kind of like prepping the box. Nano etsy ssh sshd underscore config. Now, what we are going to do is we're going to say root, no, you can't log in because that's a terrible idea. And we're going to allow password authentication for a bit. Now what we're going to do is restart SSH system, CTL, restart SSH, SSHD. Now we're going to exit out. Now, SSH, we're going to copy my SSH key over as a Matthias user so I can make all the security people happy. So, SSH copy ID, Matthias at rmm.shiftsystems.net. And mind you, I just created this box before the stream. As you can see, I don't even have my username. I don't have like my riced out shell and all that fun stuff, so. Number of keys added once. So now we're going to SSH, Matthias at, I'm going to do something. SSH, we're going to add my SSH key. SSH ID. I'm sick of doing that. So, now that we have our server with our wonderful user on it, there we go. So, stock Ubuntu out of the box, no shenanigans here. So the first thing we're going to need to do is install some dependencies. And this is mostly to get Ansible up and running. You don't have to run it on the box. So the way I set up my instance of this up in my home lab is I manage it from my PC and SSH into other boxes. It's just, I'm assuming most people aren't going to have just a Linux box laying around and they have to spin up an Ubuntu droplet like this. Oh, crap. So I found one mistake in my documentation already. Let me pull up code here really quick. All right, so let's pull up the README. Then we're gonna sudo, oh yeah, I should probably do a git pull here quick. cd repos shift rmm git pull. There we go. All right, Ansible, although it is a proper noun, it is a proper noun that doesn't have a capital in its package name. So we should probably do that. Now that our packages are just about installed, we're going to clone down the Git repository here and fill out our inventory. One thing I also need to do off camera really quick is I'm going to go into my mail server and make a dummy account. sp.me. Log in. Configuration. Mail setup. I almost wish my MailCow server broke more so I would like keep in touch with what's going on with it, to be brutally honest. Alright. Let's add ourselves a little tiny mailbox here. Test, full name, 56. Generate. Yeah, that looks random enough. So we're just making a quick little mailbox here. Alright, so yay, we have a test account. Alright, so now that we have our email account set up, we are going to clone our little repo here. Copy, paste. We're going to clone the repo and change into it. Now, I would not recommend editing the inventory in here because that's going to cause a version conflict with Git. So if I had more options in for like direct send with O365 and stuff like that, it's going to break and you're going to have incompatibility. Since I have a different version of the file without all of your credentials in it, it's best to keep that somewhere else. So we're just going to keep that in the right above in the directory in a file called inventory, which is what this command does. So now if we ls ... hey look, we have our inventory file. So let's go through the inventory file now that we have our own nano ... inventory. So you can run this on more than one host. Like I said, I run Influx Db and Mesh Central on 2 separate boxes. So that way when I scale up, MongoDB, which is the database I've set up to use for Mesh Central, doesn't conflict with Influx Db for I/O. You can keep them on separate disks, which is really nice. Grafana's there, but it's unmaintained right now. I'm on the fence about whether to keep it in or not. And I'm definitely going to let the community drive that decision. To me personally, why I kind of put it on the back burner for now is that it's really annoying to have 3 UIs instead of 2. Because some of the alerting, like dead man checks for InfluxDB don't really work in Grafana last I checked. And you would have to do alerting in 2 places if you want SMTP. Flux in Grafana isn't that great right now. There's no WYSIWYG editor at all, so we're gonna see how it goes with Grafana. since we're not using it, which is why it's at default, so you can leave it at default. So now, oh, what's the domain I have for that? mesh.shiftsystems.net. All right, so Nginx. These are A records I already have set up for this domain. As you could tell, I was already at SSH into this one. There's another A record for this. Nginx. So I'm assuming by default that this is the setup you're going with. You go to your VPS provider of choice, preferably DigitalOcean with my affiliate link, and you set everything up behind an Nginx proxy. This way, you're letting something that's really good at doing TLS encryption do TLS encryption and tell things where to go, rather than leaving them separate on separate ports, and spewing out all your metrics and remote access data in plain text, which you. Ansible Python interpreter, this is just say, hey, use Python 3 instead of Python 2 so you can leverage some newer features. Ansible Connection. This is local, again, assuming the default case is somebody spinning up a VPS on Ubuntu. If you are SSHing in from another box, just set this, change this from local to SSH. Title text. We're going to say this is Testington's server. His really cool server. And then just the footer text is, this will make more sense later. It's just vanity text essentially for your site. So mail dot, this is where your mail is going to go. Your email port from address is going to be test@matthiasp.me. Username test@matthiasp.me. Email took. Use the password from that dummy account I had earlier. I'm guessing no one's really watching this, so not super worried about it right now. All right, and then an influx token. Leave this blank for now. As long as it's blank, it won't try to import the template. Once this is populated with a token, it will automatically populate your Influx Db instance with a bunch of dashboards and buckets for you. Which is kind of the value add here, because you can set up Influx Db pretty easily. Like if you look at the playbook, it's 7 tasks. It's download the binary, put it in your path, set up a service file, and enable it. Really easy. One thing I love about Influx Db is the time to awesome mentality that they have. Where it's, hey, we're designing this to be super easy. So now, moment of truth. We're going to run our playbook for the first time. We're going to paste this in. Now we play the waiting game. All right, so I'm going to try to walk you through the task of what it's doing, and put it away from my face hole. So right now what it's doing is setting up Node.js. I believe, no, on 2004 you can use it from the repos. So it's downloading Node.js, MongoDB, and a few other dependencies, so that way Mesh Central can function and it's fully scaled that way. By default, you don't need to set up MongoDB. It can use NebDB, which is like mini Mongo, essentially. It uses the same ideas and the same query language. It just is smaller. Mongo's meant to scale, and I hope that this lands in some pretty big instances where that would fall apart. So I just set it up with MongoDB. Do it right the first time, and you won't be screwing around with database migrations later. That's my mentality toward it. All right. Yeah, this does take a little while, so have any questions, let me know in chat, which I need to pull up. Hey, Blue, you're here. Sorry, I didn't notice. Welcome. Decided to switch to YouTube now that Mixer's dead. All right. While this is going on, I'm going to shill to some of my friends in a little bit. Or for a little bit, excuse me. Thanks for watching, by the way. Glad to see you're here. Like I said, any questions about what's going on, feel free to let me know. And let me grab out this link. My link. All right. So now that Mesh Central has all of its dependencies, it's going to create a user and a group for it. So that way the service runs as its own user for auditing purposes later. Hopefully when I'm shipping logs over to Influx Db. We're going to make a data directory for it to stick everything. And for custom images, it's going to add our vanity images. And now what we're going to do is we're going to enable our services. Next step is we're on to InfluxDB. So InfluxDB is a time series database written in Go. Cool thing about Go is it always boils down to a single binary you plop in your path and tell it to run. So just like that, we have a time series database, which to me is amazing. Now we're setting up the systemd service for it. And we're enabling that service, skipping over all that fun Grafana stuff. Grafana is a really good tool, don't get me wrong. It just kind of got in the way of the UX experience. Share. There we go. All right, now we're installing Nginx, and Nginx is a web server and reverse proxy, so that way these applications that aren't necessarily great proxies are not going to be handling tons of web requests. We're going to let something that's good at it deal with it. And the other nice thing about this too is that Nginx allows you for running more than one service on the same port, since it can say like, oh, hey, this domain on 443 goes here, this domain on 443 goes to the other place. Yeah-oh. Undefined variable. Oh, from email. Yay! Was that not in from underscore email? Oh. So that means something somewhere's amiss. So it was mad about line 29 in Nginx. So Nginx task main YAML. All right. So line 29, get a certificate for InfluxDB. So from email would be missing from the inventory. Email from, yeah, we'll change this to from email. That shouldn't break anything. All right, so now the nice thing about Ansible is that if once the task is done the first time, it doesn't take as long to do the second. It essentially just brings things into compliance. All right. So we're going to go with from address and fix it in Nginx. I think I had it duplicated, which is why it got confusing there. So pull up code. Go back to our inventory. The other nice thing is that's what it is in Git. From address. I don't know. What do you guys think if I should go with from email or from address for the variable? Stop me now or forever hold my peace. So let's go from email, replace with, yeah, you're right, Aquila. Well, you gotta be right. So that problem came up in Mesh Central. I think I had both defined at one point, and I think that's how it is in my own inventory. So from address needs to go to from email. email space control save. No, it is test from email. I should be doing the smart thing and doing this in Git, but meh. So sudo nano etsy. All right, I don't need to edit it as nano. We're gonna go into roles, mesh central, templates, mesh config. We're gonna find from underscore address and make it from underscore email. I should definitely test this out with SSH so I'm not editing stuff in two places. And put a safer place for my email, but meh. All right. We're going to download Influx Db. And if it fails again, I'm going to show you guys a really cool trick you can do with Ansible where you can start out a task. So that way I don't have to watch it say, yeah, I already did this a bunch of times. All right, we're going to paste in our Nginx configs. Yay. It's going to skip Grafana. Now it's going to get one for Mesh Central. There we go. Everything's good to go. So now if I pull up my browser and go to rmm.shiftsystems.net, looky that, we get to do user onboarding. Yeah, one variable was wrong in the playbook. I think that's a good thing. Get started. We're going to create a username out of my monitoring stuff. Definitely make sure to make the initial organization Shift Systems. Otherwise, you're going to be going through a whole bunch of Telegraph configs by yourself later. Or if you do want your own organization name on that, perfectly fine. I'm more than happy to maintain a fork of this repo for you. For money. And for the bucket name, just name it tests. If you name it one of the existing buckets like Windows or Linux, things can get kind of spicy. So we can say configure later because we're just going to yeet a whole bunch of stuff into it from our own template. So right now, no dashboards, no data or tokens or buckets or anything like that besides our own. There's no alerting here, which kind of sucks. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a token. We're going to generate it. This needs to be an all access token. And it's going to remind you like, yo, dude, this is God mode token. Probably shouldn't use this or use it sparingly. So this is the only instance where we plan on using this. So we're going to just call it Ansible since that's how we're using it. And now we're going to grab our token here. We're going to copy our token. And now we're going to go back to our terminal. Now we need to let our inventory know what's going on. So we're going to go back to our inventory and we're going to fill out this token. So now that we have a token, we can import our InfluxDB dashboards. As you saw, there is nothing there. The nice thing now, Ansible playbook. There we go. So now we can run an Ansible playbook, and we're just going to run the influx template task since that's all we really need to do. We're going to paste it. We're going to run as root. Actually, I don't think that one needs to run with admin privileges. All right. So now let's go back here. We go to our dashboards. Hey, look at that. We have pfSense dashboards now. Hooray. We have a Windows dashboard and one for Proxmox. And if we go to alerts, hey, we can get notifications about our stuff being down and my Ansible playbook's failing. Definitely need to populate this a bit more, and I think there are some issues out here. And if you do want to politely give me feedback about how I can improve the project, please go to our GitLab at gitlab.com, shift systems, shift RMM. All right. And I will put links for that in post. This is just kind of a test stream for now. Okay. So now that that's done, we can add in our... we should definitely go over to our Mesh Central instance now, which may or may not be working. I have had some issues with having the same domain pull up a bunch of different times. Conqueror, thank you. Thank you, Conqueror. mesh.shiftsystems.net. Server requests, server side is HTTPS. Let's try Falcon. This is definitely a bug I've been running into on just this machine for some reason. Mesh.shiftsystems.net. Details, check any cables. Something fail? Pull up my terminal. Curl mesh.shiftsystems.net. Nope, it's up and running all right. Yeah, this is a weird bug I've run into on like I said, this only happens on my machine. It's weird. Yeah. So like I said, this is a problem with my machine and is in no way indicative of this product. Mesh.shiftsystems.net. I wonder. No, because if it was in host, curl wouldn't work. Huh. This is wild. This is definitely a wild problem that I should have fixed before the stream. Or I can show you the power of Shift RMM. I'm going to go to my registrar really quick and add in a different host record. Or a different A record, excuse me. Which I'm obviously doing on my other screen because you guys don't need to know that info. You guys can find it out if you really wanted to, but meh. Alright. Shift systems. DNS records. Mesh. Edit. We cancel. Add. Choose a. Fart. Create. Alright. Hackerman. So, I did have that little snag, but time to show you guys the power of Ansible. And yes, I'm aware there's an email password in here. This mail account's getting nuked after the stream. I think I just called it fart. Ping fart.meshcentral.com. Or wait, did I make it for a net? RMM fart.shiftsystems. Ping fart.shiftsystems.net. Alright. Should ping. Let's Encrypt might freak out, but we'll find out. So now I'm going to show you guys that cool Ansible trick. Start at task. Need to find the name of that task really quick. That's going to be in Nginx. From email. Cool. Get a certificate for Mesh Central. So that's the task we're going to start at. And now we don't have to go through all this rigmarole. One of the nice things I really like about Ansible. Hey, there we go. Actually, I think I need to run... Yeah, I need to run everything again. Anyway, that cool little parlor trick worked, but... need to start it a little earlier, so I'm just going to run it from the top. Shouldn't take that long. And then I'm just going to kill it once it gets to Grafana. Start, enable. Yeah, should be fine. All right. Mesh Central. Dutch. Where was it? Fart. Shift systems. Done. Whoa, what? I'm just gonna let the whole thing run. I think I need to let Nginx. Yeah, I need to let the domain for Nginx apply too. So I actually have to run through the whole thing. I just need to stop preventing shortcuts, or stop taking shortcuts. The system works, damn it. Archspire. I've been listening to some Archspire for a while. Whoa. That should be fine since the template already applied. That's a known bug right now that I do have an issue for, where it doesn't update. I need to play around more with influx templates and stacks to figure out how to stop that, but should be fine. All right. Fart.shiftsystems.net. Let me check on my phone. Fart.shiftsystems.net. Keeps on redirecting. What the hell? Oh, yay, troubleshooting. Mesh Central, Influx is RMM. I want to say it's Let's Encrypt being screwy, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit a sin and run stuff as root, but meh. And I'm just going to nuke the droplet and start over again. Start over new and fresh. Because this makes no sense. I lied. I'm going to figure out why Nginx has gone crazy. Cat etsy cd etsy Nginx. See Nginx sites enabled. The hell? Mesh Central FQDN. Etsy Mesh Central. Etsy Nginx. So for some reason that didn't update the domain. Etsy Nginx. Sites enabled. Remove it really hard. Alright. Try this again. Try it again. Use take 2. We're on Mesh Central and everything seems to be going fine. Alright. Hopefully this works now. The hell? Cat, Etsy, Nginx, sites, enabled, Influx. Oh, it's failing before it gets to Nginx, that's why. Alright. And yes, I should be using NeoVim, but kind of the point of this is so I can test it out on vanilla stuff and not my own stuff. Because I have way cooler stuff set up, and I want to assume that my cooler stuff isn't being rolled into Mesh Central just because I think that's what an Ubuntu box is how I set one up, not how most VPSs will do it. And mine's tested in a Proxmox container, and I think you could run it out of the box on those by default. So that's the smallest image I work with. I should try it on an Ubuntu minimal if I want to go hardcore. And play with Podman. All right. There we go. Helps if you actually put in the right config file. The more you know, and knowing's half the battle. All right, cool. Now this should work. The hell? Curl var.shiftsystems.net. It's getting 302'd. Connection not secure. More info. Why can't I clear this site? Sudo. Hey, chat, you want to confirm that you can get to fart.shiftsystems.net? Sudo dnf install Chromium browser. I think this is what it's called in Fedora. Is it just Chromium? DNF search Chromium, a blank base. Excuse me. Chromium. Built with all free world codecs. Huh. Sure, Chromium free world. Wrong command. Alright, yeah, cool. My Firefox is just being dumb. And like I said, I don't have a problem with this on my instance that I run. It's on my website if you want proof. It's a really weird bug with Firefox. See, you can get there. And it works just fine. And I could curl it earlier, so fart.shiftsystems. Everything works better in Chrome. It sucks. Alright. So, by default, there is a race condition when you set this up, where first come, first serve, whoever gets this username first gets it. Shiftsystems.net. And voila. Shut up, Google. Now I can start test agent. Okay. Yay, we have an agent. All right. So now what we need to do is go to our server. And we need to add this in. So what this is it allows us to yeet scripts onto boxes, which is awesome. So what we need to do now is we need to go to plugins from the server tab. Boop, boop. Add that there. You hit the drop down, click install. And now we are going to add an agent. We're going to go with the Linux BSD one. I haven't played too much with the other installer, but apparently there is a binary installer. It did not work on my Fedora box, though. This shell script still works fine, though. I think it's just the developers wanting to make this more on parity with everything else. So now I just need to copy in that shell script. Touch my device. Yay, it works. This does not work with Wayland, by the way, but hey, look, it already shows up in our portal. And now we can get to a terminal on it. We can connect to it. I'm curious to see if users denied. Disconnect. There was a login shell. Maybe it works now. Where you could log in as a specific user. Otherwise, terminal, root shell. That's my shit. Connecting as root. That's the safe thing to do. Snort might not like what's going on here. Crap baskets. Let me look into something really quick. Remote access software and intrusion detection do not get along sometimes. So I need to go to Telegraph. Oh, never mind. There we go. Wait, this just works with Wayland. Or no, this is still Axe. There we go. So now we have a root shell. Now, the cool thing that I'm about to show you is now we can upload some scripts. So we can go back to our GitHub repo, find scripts in the scripts folder that you can upload to your Mesh Central server. I think there's another cap. Yeah, scripts is lowercase in the documentation. So let's grab ourselves a Linux script here and let's install a Telegraph. So, right now we're going to copy here, we're going to copy here, we're going to go to new and install underscore, where I call mine lin telegraph dot. Boom. We're going to click OK here. We're going to edit. We're going to click on our script. We're going to edit said script. Yeah, I wonder who edited my documentation, and that's why it looks so good. Somebody was saying I have really sexy docs. I wonder who edited those. Might have been the person who said it. Might have been kind of vain. All right, so now what we need to do here is we need to fill in that we are sending our stuff to rmm.shiftsystems.net. We are sending this to the Linux bucket. This is what I was talking about earlier. When you change the org name from Shift Systems, you have to change one more field, not the end of the world. You will in all the dashboards. You might have to in the dashboards too. Not something I've looked too far into yet. So we're going to go back to our tokens on our test instance. Monitoring stuff. All right. So we're gonna go and get a token for just what we need. One thing I love about Influx Db is that they make it super easy to get tokens for just what you need. So we're gonna generate a read-write token. We're gonna scope it just for the Linux bucket and only for write. And we can rename our token Linux. We're going to click on our Linux token. We're going to copy it on the clipboard. We're going to put it in here. We're going to put it in here. And now, hopefully, just in case, close. We're going to edit. Voila. Yeah, I think there's definitely something screwed up with running my current config because I use HA proxy at home for this. But yeah. Also nice to have emoji in chat. I didn't know that was a thing until now. All right. So now what we can do is we can say we can run it on this node. We could also do an advanced node, or if we did have more nodes, we could put it in other places, or you can just run it against a whole whack ton of stuff. So we're just going to do a simple run and say run. And it's going to queue. Output and feedback on the script plugin is pretty jank right now, to be brutally honest, because it's going to say error despite the fact that it worked. Because if I go to the local box that if I go to the terminal of this box right now, cd sudo journal ctlu telegraph -f. What? Well, that's a fun bug. But yeah, anyway, should work. I don't know why it's not working with Let's Encrypt. Should probably go look at the cert. Would probably be the first place I would look. Connection secure, site data. rmm.shiftsystems.net. I think I know what's going on. I think the URL I actually have is disconnect, go back to plugins. Do I still have rmm.shiftsystems.net? Nope. Huh. That might be a Fedora bug. Curious. Rather curious. Influx telegraph Influx Db. Outputs. Telegraph output formats. What is it? Telegraph GitHub. Outputs. What? What? Config? Nope. Telegraph output plugins. Trying to find the docs for all the Telegraph outputs. I want to see if there's a way to ignore certificates. There we go. Output. And it's current. we can go view it over here on GitHub. I might add this into the default. I just want to make sure that that's the only problem I have with the config and that it's a weird thing with Let's Encrypt. So let's go back to our terminal here. Nano, Etsy, Telegraph, telegraph.conf. Nice thing about this too is that it puts everything in the defaults. Insecure skip underscore verify equals true out sudo service test telegraph. Now we wait 10 seconds to see if there's something wrong. Service test isn't a command, it's a one-liner. I got really sick of doing like journal ctl tac u service name f, and yeah, I'm just lazy. There's really not much more to it than that. There really is not. I'm a lazy business goose and I'm okay with it. Fight me, bro, if it's a problem. All right, so now let's go into. You can go to our Influx Db 2 instance, go to our Linux dashboard, and you're going to see, voila, we have a pretty dashboard here. You know what? So yeah, so along with all of this wonderful stuff, I won't go through the pfSense one because that one might have IPs in it. But yeah, you can look at the different interface traffic. And something that will show up after 15 minutes and I can show. There's one thing I need to do in here, which is go through my variables, set up the mesh info, and fill that out as fart.shiftsystems.net. Because you guys are about to see something really cool. It's a really neat integration. So normally this little panel here, every 15 minutes will report its Mesh Central ID. The problem is it hasn't been 15 minutes yet, so it hasn't reported. So let's coerce it a little bit. So now that we know it's working, so you see here where it says interval 10 seconds. Since we're just going to do away with this in 2 seconds anyway, I don't really care. To be brutally honest. Rona. All right. We're going to run service test again. Yay. All right. Now we play the waiting game. Nothing looks like it's exploded yet, so now we should be able to go to here, get the last value for this. Yeah. Yay, now I get OS info. Yeah. Some of the stuff that like doesn't really make sense to run every 10 seconds. I set an interval timer so it runs every 15 minutes. So you will have to manually go into mesh. But this panel will populate with the URL here. There we go. So now I would need to sign in. And by the way, Mesh Central does support 2FA. Influx Db does not just yet. So that is a known issue. 1 second. Let me verify my email. Yay, I'm verified. Sorry about that. Had to go through the verification email. As you can see, my email is now verified and it did send. I just didn't feel like pulling up my email on stream. Seems like that could go pretty terrible. You guys don't want to know what mailing list I'm on. There we go. So now I'm logged in, and now we should be able to go into our little terminal here. Voila. This does look better on Chrome. I do have to admit, this does look better on Chrome. Anyway. So yeah. That's just a simple setup of Mesh Central right there on my box. I will go put the agent back so it's on mine really quick. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about that, let me know. I will offer this as a managed solution. I have not nailed down pricing yet, so if you are interested, I will put the sales email down here in our website. You can watch that for pricing or get in touch with me via email on our contact form. And that should wrap up that part of the stream. Now we're going to do what was keeping me up till 3 a.m. last night, which was trying to get Telegraph logs to work. So yeah. 1 second while I go to my personal Mesh Central instance. Kind of don't want you guys seeing more of my LAN than you absolutely have to. So we're going to go to remote shiftsystems.net. Kind of the same idea as before, monitoring stuff. What? What? Well, you know our password. What? There we go. Yeah. That is no bueno. Did I break my own stuff here? Well, crap. I guess we can log it to the other server while it's still up and running. So now you guys get to see what was keeping me up all night, which was logging to systemd. So, Telegraph, although it's amazing, supports 183 different inputs. One of those inputs is not systemd journal. They support syslog, but if you look at what syslog will return for you, it's not nearly as rich as what the systemd logs are. On Zoe. Sorry about this, guys. Akila is actually she's my guinea pig for this, who's kind of a bit more of a normie than me. She's not a normie by any stretch of the imagination, but she's not a wacky penguin like me. So, all right. So let's go to Armin. Oh crap. Clear site. Move. I guess I'm going to keep Chromium around for a while now to prevent this stuff from happening. http armin.local.isp.me. Ah, no, I've been busted for using Grafana. Or I guess I could do this, do it like this. Forgot I could get on my own Grafana locally. Or my own Influx Db locally, excuse me. Monitoring stuff. Copy. There we go. Yeah, it looks like I'm having an outage midstream, so that's always fun. Yeah, I'll fix it after. Thankfully, it's just a test instance for me and a friend, so it's not the end of the world. Okay. So, let's go to my dashboards here. Let's go to my Linux metrics. Okay, cool. Zoe's back. Oh, it looks like I haven't checked services into Git yet. Huh. That's a big mistake. Yeah, I have a Windows and Linux service panels that I need to check into Git from my instance, but yeah. So if we go to Data Explorer here, what you are going to find is you get syslog and you get this information. It's not very helpful. Whereas if I go through my long and arduous history from last night, actually, we can go to localhost on a different browser. Localhost : 19531. Oh, I need to turn on the service. Sudo system ctl start journal or systemd gateway dot service. So right now I get a message which is like pure gibberish, to be brutally honest. Let's look at raw data and submit and make it look at a table. Oh, that's right. Last. So you just get like a simple message which doesn't really tell you a whole bunch. It doesn't tell you like what binary is going on and all that fun stuff. Actually, does it pull up the proc ID? Fname, telegraph journal. Gives you some information, but it's not the best, to be brutally honest. Maybe now that it's been running a bit more, I might keep it around. Either way, it's not nearly as much information as this. So this is what you get from systemd journal. It gives you the C group that it runs on. It gives you how the log got there. Gives you a better timestamp. Gives you some SE Linux info. Gives you a systemd unit that it runs from. Gives you a lot of information. Whereas catting from syslog, you don't get like the exact binary that it ran. You get an app name, which might be different. So I would prefer if I could just get all of that. Preferably. The other nice thing too is you can do things like cursors, but the problem is that Telegraph doesn't have a direct input for systemd journals, and you can use the gateway service, but it's another package you have to install and some other bad stuff. So what I wanted to play, it's another package you have to install, another service you have to enable. So it makes the script a lot longer, and longer your script is, the more bugs, the more things that could go wrong, the more services you're running. Not so great. So I want to see if I can just run a journal D command that'll just cat everything out. If not, meh. I can just fart around with syslog for a while. Not the end of the world. So what I need to do is sudo nano etc systemd system. Is that where telegraph is? Nope. Alright, so now we're going to look at how the telegraph service runs. So if you do a journal CTL TechF, I get stuff for me. So if like I open up another terminal, it'll pull some stuff up. But if I like restart Telegraph or Nginx, I don't get that information. I don't get boot info. I don't get fun stuff like that, right? I just get my user stuff. So I need to see who Telegraph runs as, and if I can maybe run it as a more privileged user. I don't know. Not a fan of that though, because yeah, privileged users. The more privileged processes you have, the more places things can go wrong. So let's sudo system ctl status telegraph active running. There we go. So now that we have the service file, we can cat this out. All right, so it looks like it doesn't run as a specific user. So let's do px aux. We're gonna grep that, and we're gonna look for telegraph. Does it tell you who the user is? Crap. So Telegraph does run as its own user. Config directory. cd etc default telegraph. Sorry, etc ls etc default telegraph. Let me nano that on screen really quick. Okay. So nope, doesn't store user information in there. But what we can do is a sudo techu journal ctl techf. Oh, would help if I what? That's weird. So that's to be single quote. I'm not familiar with running stuff as another user. Sudo run command as other user. Available commands, sudo run command as root. You're not currently seeing messages from others. No journal files are open due to insufficient permissions. So I can't use journal CTL directly. I do have to find like a socket that I can listen on for it. And that's where I need to see like, hey, can I just listen on this journal D socket? That's kind of where I got stuck. So probably play around with this for a little bit. And if you have any ideas on listening to Linux sockets, let me know, because that's something I'm kind of unfamiliar with. Because there is a socket listener plugin and there are syslog plugins that are really easy to set up. You just paste in a syslog config file, restart syslog, and go for it. The other crappy thing, though, is... The other crappy thing about just regular old syslog is that it might not forward. It doesn't forward as early as journald does, but I think you can use imjournal, which I think syslog.conf, which it might load. Yeah, imsocket provides support for system view logging via the logger of the command. Use suck off, turn off messages. Yeah, so you can use a socket. Where that socket is where I need to figure out. Mail, var mail log. ls etsy. So let's... Alright, action, linked list, asynchronous, action queue file name, serve forward, set a file name, also enables disk mode, action, retry timeout. Anyway, all this is basically saying, hey, I'm localhost, spit out stuff on Telegraph. But like I said, the log messages are meh, and I just want systemd stuff. You do get some other stuff if you do syslog, but it's not as detailed like I said earlier. So I'm on the fence, and shipping logs is something I'm not super familiar with, so it's just kind of a fun learning experience for everybody, I guess. All right. Close that out. Journal D socket logs. There might be exploding systemd journal part 1. Where was it? So yeah, this is the part where it's just going to be me doing a lot of reading, so it should be fun. I'm also going to go spin down that droplet really quick. Remove. So let's delete that inbox. And then let's go to DigitalOcean and kill that droplet quick. Before you hoodlums start yeeting metrics onto it. That's my server for yeeting metrics, darn it. Destroy. Or actually, I'm just going to kill it. Dedicated Unix sockets. For our purpose, we only need to investigate syslog and native interfaces. Alright. The native interface is how journal applications aware. Similar to syslog interface. This is access to Unix datagram socket. Run it. Simple protocol for clients to talk to the service. Reassembling key value store. So apparently there's gold in them their sockets. /run systemd journal. So let's actually do ls tech LA. So there's IO systemd journal, which is a socket. There's devlog, which is a socket. have a decent understanding of how to interact with journal D, we can start writing our exploits. That's the goal of this. Oh, this is like exploits. Well, that's always fun. Journal D, blah, blah, blah. Alright, grep IAM journal. Can also transfer data the opposite direction with OM journal. You can check the binary finals under run log. Paste. Wow, this is not really helping me out here a ton. Yeah. Anyway, I don't have any really anything else to offer, so it's been really nice having you guys watch the stream. Thank you very much. I think I'm just going to cut it off here, and it was really fun. Thanks, guys. I'll put the links down in post, so if you do want some help running your own RMM or anything else, let me know.